Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Talent Managers podcast.
Sorry, I'm just like coughing in the background. I am still full of a cold.
Well, you know how it's been so sunny, it suddenly got so cold, and I feel like it's October.
I don't even think it's cold.
July.
It's humid. It's rainy, but it's like tropical rain. Like it's still hot, so it's humid, and I do not like that. I love the rain though.
Do you? Not.
Yeah.
I don't love it in summer. I've been in my prime the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
See, when we went to Duck and Waffle last week.
Oh, and the content that you shot.
Oh my god.
Go and look at Eva's Instagram because I took it and it is 10 out of 10 if I say so myself. Even though I didn't know how to take a burst photo and then I accidentally deleted photos after airdropping because not realising that you can't airdrop bursts.
And yeah.
I tried it myself when I got back because I took some on my work phone and I tried to airdrop or send my burst. There's no way to do it.
Yeah, I spoke to Ava about it because she was the one that showed me how to do bursts. But she takes them obviously on her phone. I took them on her phone of her.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen. But to be honest, the ones that you got and the ones that I uploaded, I was happy with.
I think they were the best of them. And, the lighting was perfect.
Yeah.
And it's also you got more comfortable where we were shooting and knew exactly what you want. So it wasn't as awkward and
You know what I really want to do? I don't think we've even spoke about this. I really want you to come to Cyprus with me.
I mean, I'm always down.
I want you to come to my grand's.
I am literally always down.
Because you can drive her car, because you're going to be 25 in September.
Yes.
So you can drive her car.
That is, I mean, that is terrifying thought of me driving in Cyprus.
It's an automatic, it's the same side of the road. So you'll be fine.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
Just as well it's an automatic car.
Yeah, just as well I only have an automatic licence.
Yeah, so it's perfect. So,
I mean,
that would be unreal.
That would be so much fun.
We could literally do that in October.
Because you're one of my travel buddies. I feel like there's some friends that you cannot travel with. I don't know. I was watching Vanderpump Rules. You don't watch Vanderpump Rules, do you?
No, but I've seen a lot of the
Oh my god. So I watched season 1 to 6 years ago when it was coming out, and then I stopped for a while and I picked it up when the whole Scandoval thing happened and TikTok and all that. But I started back at season 6 and rewatched what I'd kind of already watched and continued on. And there's one girl in there, Kristen, who's an absolute nightmare, and no one can travel with her. Anytime they go away, she has to get her own room because no one wants to stay with her. She gets really drunk, and then if you're asleep, she wants all the lights on and to wake you up, or gets mad at you for being asleep. And she hates being away from home. She hates flying.
Oh my god.
Is just a nervous wreck, miserable the whole time. She's I want to be home. She hates traveling. So I'm I don't have anyone like that that's that extreme. But I know I have some friends that I couldn't travel with.
Yeah, this has actually been something recently been discussed in my school friend group. Is half of us are not massive drinkers, don't really love a club. The other half are big drinkers, love a night out, and we're we can't go to Ibiza together because we're not going to want to do the same things. Anyway, see how you're saying about traveling. So I don't think I spoke about this, but when I was just in we did speak about how I was in Marbella. When I was in Marbella, I had a moment where I freaked out in the airport because and I mean I was borderline going to have a severe panic attack. I was oh my god, because the girls I'd gone with were flying back to London and I was flying back to Glasgow, and there was a point where I'd said bye to them and I was sat in the airport alone, and I was literally
that's a lot for you.
I was and I've flown by myself multiple times in the last year as well, and I'm not being funny. I was sat there I am in Spain alone. I don't know anyone. Because see, when I go to Cyprus, if I'm in Paphos airport, I'm I can go back to my grand's. If my flight gets cancelled, or do you know what I mean? Or when I went to Milan, I was I can go back to Sophie's, or do you know what I mean? But in this moment, I was I'm stuck here. I don't know anybody in this country. There's nobody, do you know what I mean? Usually when I'm in a country, I know someone that's there.
I mean, I've literally been to London with you, and on the train you're how do I get around? I can't. Oh my god, no, it's going to be so unsafe. No, I have to take Ubers everywhere. Stressing about London. I feel it's places that you don't know well, whereas now I feel if you go to London, you know well enough, you're I know I can get from here to here. I know that I'd rather pay for an Uber for this, or I can get a tube for this.
Yeah.
And, but I remember going the first time in London with you, and you're stressed, and I'm you literally go everywhere. You go to Italy, you go to Cyprus, you go this and that. But I think it's you in new places.
Yeah, I mean, my uncles used to stay in London, and they, like, when I went, I'd be with my, like, parents, so they would, you know, but when we went to London, I hadn't been since, like, well before COVID, so I was like, whoa, and there was a new line, what's it called, the Elizabeth line,
Yeah.
and all that.
Speaking of the Elizabeth line, the hotel that we have booked, we were stuck between two. I was telling you, like, the Premier Inn hub, because I love a Premier Inn hub. Have you stayed at a hub?
No.
It's not a normal Premier Inn.
Right.
It's like a small, really bright lights, great size room, really clean, like modern.
Okay.
But like very tech.
Right.
Like they've got all these buttons and USB
so it's giving Yotel.
It is. It's like a Yotel but Premier Inn
Right.
version. So I love a hub, but they're always sold out or like really expensive, even though it's a Premier Inn. But the other one is an Ibis, and that's where I stay in Paris, is always with an Ibis. I love the Accor group. I have a Hilton Hotels member account and an Accor group member account for Ibis.
Yeah.
And we're choosing whether we're staying at the Ibis, whatever. The price difference is like 50 quid or whatever. Cammy picked the more expensive one just so he can ride the Elizabeth line while we're in London more than once.
What is the difference?
It's so fast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the line goes all the way out to Reading.
Right, yeah.
Which is outside of London.
Yeah.
So you would usually have to get like a train.
Yeah.
So the route that it goes is quite far out, and it doesn't but it covers central London in certain spots, and you can get from one place to another in London that would usually take you half an hour in like 4 minutes type of thing.
When I get the tube, it makes me travel sick.
Well, the Elizabeth line has air conditioning.
Okay,
and
it's
like
the heat that makes me feel unwell, I think.
It's got air conditioning and it's newer, so it's a lot nicer. I've been on it. It's quite nice. Like when I go on another tube now, I'm like, oh, dirty old. Like this, I'm like clean, fast air conditioning.
I honestly I recently watched The Bodyguard. It's called Bodyguard. Have you seen it?
Yeah. I can't believe how behind you are on that.
This is like from 2018. This was old. But guys, I watched it and it really it really scared me.
Of course
I can't lie.
You're a very anxious person though, so I feel like you think of like everything that could go wrong on something. So now you'd be like, I can't go on a train because now another bad thing could happen.
I mean, that's always been in my mind. But anyway, we're not gonna talk about it. Because otherwise I'll just think about it too much. I'm going on a train in 2 weeks, so...
But, I mean...
Or like a week.
It'll be fine.
It's a week. Guys,
I still can't believe you're going down in the evening, though, because we could have gotten the same train in together. And, like, if you weren't travelling down with a friend, or they were coming at a separate time, you could have come down with me and Cammy and spent the day with us before meeting your friend.
I still could, but I feel bad making her get a 4-hour train alone. It's a long train. Because I was kind of thinking, like, do we just fly down?
Flights are expensive on this. Flying down on the Friday would have been fine, but the Saturday it costs more to fly one way than a full return train.
I know. Anyway, we are wanting to take some more time, like, for our own socials, because I think that when we do that, I think that it kind of does actually help our talent as well.
No, I definitely think a lot of the work that I've got in my girls as well have been from like my own brand contacts or brands that have reached out to me.
Yeah.
So it's always beneficial. It doesn't. I don't think it is ever a detriment.
No.
Or like a negative.
Yeah, definitely not. I think that there's been a lot of things that that either like even things we've been invited to that's like come like along to our talent and then they get something out of it as well.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's because I've got like a lot of Edinburgh stuff in my name. It literally is like Emmy Rosen, like Edinburgh. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how I need to start asking brands like how they find us and our talent, like where they saw them from or how they found them. But I get a lot of Edinburgh invites or like PR events and stuff like that I can then like get the girls invites for. We do our own socials and stuff like that, but we don't work for the same agency.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people think because we have this podcast and we're both in the same field, we own the same agency. We don't. Yeah, so speaking of that, we're moving on to questions. One of the questions I got was, what made you both want to do this, as in like talent management, running our own businesses and stuff? And do you work together?
Okay, do you start?
Yeah, so we do work together, but not together. Like, we work alongside each other and help each other, but we don't work at the same agency.
I think a lot of people struggle to understand how there's not sort of like competition between us in terms of our agencies, especially because we're based in the same place. But honestly, like, I think that between us, like, we have a different style of talent, and also like quite different niches, literally, like,
do you know what I mean? A lot of our work does overlap. We do give each other contacts for other stuff, and like you literally gave me a contact that helped give me one of my girls' pay campaign the other week, and I give you contacts
all the time. I mean, I think that like you could probably manage some of my talent and I could probably manage some of your talent, but I think that sometimes I'll come across someone and go, oh, they're really good, but they're a better fit for Emmy than they are for me. Or you'll send me someone and go, oh, she's your vibe. Do you know what I mean? And like we have that kind of understanding, I'd say. Like, I don't know, I just think we don't really have, or for example, like you got a really big good retainer deal last week.
Yes.
And you told me, and I was like, can you send me it? But wait until yours is confirmed first. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's quite like, I don't know, I just don't think there's really, and obviously being based in the same place, like a lot of your talent is based
here
in Scotland, but mine isn't. Like, I have a couple talent that are based up here, but they are kind of more like micro, and they work on more like smaller campaigns. But in terms of my like full-time influencers, like they're based down south, so there's not really kind of much of like an issue in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I feel like our own brand contacts as well, like we spoke about this on Gab's podcast, because we did go on a different podcast. We went on Gift of the Gab with Gabs, and so if you haven't heard of her podcast or seen that episode, then make sure you go listen to that, because we do talk a lot about like our experience in the industry and how we got to like where we are today and things like that. But one of the things that we were saying on there is like our brand interests and the type of brands that like our talent are different. Like, you've got some fast fashion companies that really love working with you girls, and you've got like good contacts there. And when I think about it, like, you work a lot with like House of CB and Nadine Marabi and all that. My girls don't. That's I work with like Lucy and Yak and like a completely different type of fashion contacts. And I think that also ties into like our own sort of interests and stuff. Like, obviously we've got a lot of stuff that overlaps, but like our own fashion interests and makeup interests and influences we follow is completely different.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I totally get you.
It still comes together, and like we love a lot of the same creators and brands and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think like our talent is an extension of that almost, not intentionally, but just like the brand contacts you've made from your own socials and have had for years. You've been able to work with your girls, and then me with my own and things with like Hard Rock Edinburgh and things like that, I've been able to do for my girls. Yeah,
definitely.
So there's never any competition as well, because we also then share and introduce those contacts and connections to each other.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fair balance. And I think like was the rest of the question like what made us want to do this?
Yeah.
I think that sort of answered itself. Like our interests, you know, and like just us working on our own socials. Like, fair enough, we don't have hundreds and thousands of followers. If we had the time,
probably could.
Would we? I don't know, but I think that that's probably the interest kind of built up just from like building our own socials and the contacts we've made. But also I think that we grew up literally in the era of like
when influencers first started coming out.
Popped off,
when YouTube first started, because YouTube's been around for like years. The early 2000s, but it didn't pop off until like 2012. And then like vlogging became a thing, and like you were talking last episode with like Shay Carl and stuff.
Oh my god,
all of that.
Do you remember the sisters Elle and Blair Fowler?
Of course,
they are the OGs.
They are. There was one of them, I think it's Elle's husband, was also a YouTuber.
He was a music guy. Yeah.
I'm just like, I love it all.
But I remember watching them literally when they stayed in their parents' house.
Do you remember when like Shane Dawson was in love with like
Blair? With Blair Fowler?
Yeah.
And they did a whole video about it afterwards.
Yeah. I remember like the I used to go to bed watching, they're like, what's in my bag? And they're like, God, I'm going to college, this is what's in my handbag that I take to school every day. And it was like highlighters and all that, and I'd be like, oh, I need those highlighters to school. And I used to wish that I could take a bag like that to my high school.
Yep.
Like, that's where it started.
I don't know why I remember this so clearly. Like, when I was doing, like, this is literally something I thought of this morning. It's so odd, but I didn't have much time, and I was like, am I going to do my hair or am I going to do my makeup? And I just remember this video of Blair Fowler. It must be one of her early, like, sponsored videos by, like, a dry shampoo company. She was like, in her, like, Southern American accent, being like, hey guys, so this morning I woke up and my hair was really greasy, but when I wanted to go to school, I wanted to do my makeup and not my hair. But I got this dry shampoo. Oh my God. Cooper's looking at me like, what the hell? Like, I just remember, like, that was the early days of YouTube ads.
Yeah.
Like,
back before there was all these rules and...
Oh yeah, because think of, like, Zoella. Like, I'm sure there was lots of things, like, that Rimmel foundation and, like, the Kate Moss lipstick that she used to use, like, all that. I'm sure that was probably all our collection
it's
concealer.
Like how Morphe used to have, like, an influencer affiliate program years and years ago, and people would make commission off of people using their code, but it was like never disclosed because back then that wasn't really a thing. So they'd be like, yeah, you know, you can use my code to get, like, his like Jaclyn Hill was one of the first OG, and that's how she ended up getting her palette through them. She used to be like, you know, like, here I'm doing my makeup, I'm using the Morphe brush, and I'm using this, and then link it in the description, be like, make sure you use my Morphe code, you get like 15 to 20% off. But like none of that was ever disclosed or...
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Does it have to be disclosed in America now? Is that even a law?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't know, I don't really work at American, like...
Really? Like, their laws, I don't think, are as strict as ours, because here in the UK, you have to say, like, this is... Like, if you're doing a YouTube video, what most people will be like, this portion of the video is sponsored by this brand, because then you're clearly disclosing... Like, this is a sponsor, this is an ad, here's the product and all that. And I've had a few American brands come back to Becca and be like, oh, can we remove, like, her saying, like, this is a sponsored section, or, like, this thanks to brand name for sponsoring this video, just because we don't want it to feel like an ad. I'm like, legally, she has to disclose that it is an ad. So it's in... Like, she can say it in 5 other ways, but she has to say, this is an ad, they are sponsoring this product that I'm promoting to you right now is sponsored. Thank you, brand, for sponsoring. So I think they're, like, not as strict, but you still have to, like, put ad. You still have to...
It's not quite as in your face, I feel.
Yeah, but here it's quite full on.
Yeah.
But then again...
Some people just don't do it, though.
So many people not disclosing ads, and I'm like, you're gonna get into trouble.
And I'm also like, how's your manager not going...
Hang on, like, you need to... Yeah, because the first thing, like, if we put up something and one of the girls have not disclosed it as an ad, because you need to be disclosing everything. And I follow a couple girls who are like, have done a collaboration with a brand 2 years ago and still have to be like, my outfit is from here, not gifted or sponsored, but I have previously been sponsored by them. Like, because you have to disclose that for, like, full transparency. So girls are like, do I put gifted? Do I put ad? Like, I don't know. I'm like, it's always better to just put ad, and then you can disclose, because then that way you're never going to get into trouble for the wrong thing.
Yeah. God, I need to put on my shoe one, actually. I didn't put ad.
I literally just put on everything, like, all items were previously gifted or even if I've already done a post for it or it's previous work, like 99% of the clothes I own are previously sponsored. So I just make sure to put it on every caption. Next question. At what point would you say to get management, what, like, followers wise? How many followers do you need to have? We've talked about it in a couple episodes already. It's not about the amount of followers you have, it's about the amount of work you're getting or platform growing. Like, for example, I'd have under 10k. I'm very close to 10k. I started making reels every day for a couple of weeks, and the amount of brands that have just been popping into my DMs since doing that, like, my reach has gone from, like, a couple thousand to over 150k in a month. And I've had, like, 4 or 5 brands a week in my DMs, like, hey, we'd like to work with you, or hey, we want to do this. I feel like when you start getting a brand interest on a regular basis over a couple of weeks, getting multiple brands, then you should probably go, okay, brands are wanting to work with me, brands are interested in me. I feel like that's the level that you are ready to have management help.
Yeah, definitely.
And I have under 10k. So it's like...
I know, I think it's all down to how consistently you're getting these, you know, offers, or how consistently you're posting, and also the standard of your content. Like, when I'm looking at someone, see, even if they have, like, I have influencers, talent, that have 15k and work on a monthly basis with, like, uni days and, like, I'm trying to think of another example of who they've worked with. I don't know, even just, like, government campaigns.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's ideal. Like, they're not my biggest money makers, of course, but even just having a roster of talent that you can offer to brands, like, I would still be interested in someone that doesn't have, like, thousands and thousands of followers. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think it's more just so on how often you're working with brands on a paid basis, or how many brands are interested in working with you. Because, like, even if you're a small creator, I mean, I'm very lucky to work with multiple brands on a monthly basis in retainers on, like, paid. Like, my amount of work I could technically have management for.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is UGC or, like, collaborator posts or content for brands. Like, it doesn't have to be on your own profile. I do think it is just, like, workload versus followers. It's not dependent on followers.
For example, one of my friends, and this is also the thing about having a very specific niche. So one of my friends has, like, 9,000 followers on TikTok. She does a lot of, like, running fitness videos, and she's just got a deal for over £1,000 with New Balance and ASOS. It just shows you, like, you actually can get, like, really good work.
Yeah, because it's all niche dependent as well. Like you've just said, like, how many content creators do you know that make specifically, like, running fitness content?
And yeah, she so could have done that one that you were doing. What's it called? The
moonwalk. That's walking.
Same thing.
Yeah, but I found
running, walking, it's all the same.
It's all exercise.
It's all exercise that I am not fit enough to take part in.
But yeah, it's like that kind of that kind of thing. Like, it depends on your niche. I think if you're in fast fashion and you are only really on one platform, like, you've got a couple hundred on TikTok, but you've got a few thousand on Instagram, and you're just doing fast fashion content, it's probably not worth you getting management. I think if, for example, you're in a specific niche where you're, like, a vegan mummy blogger and you've got a couple thousand on both platforms and you're working actively with a lot of brands because there's not really many other creators, that's a different thing. I think if you're trying to be a full-time content creator just doing fast fashion content, it's not gonna...
There's actually such a good thing to highlight. If you want to be an influencer, really, you have a niche, really. Like, you need to kind of brand yourself in a certain way, and if that is, you want to go into fashion, I think that, like, that is a very saturated industry, and you're gonna have to do a lot more, and your content is gonna have to be exceptional, really. Like, see, when you think of people that do really well in fashion and even, like, beauty isn't as saturated, but your content has to be so creative and, like,
yeah, I also feel like you need to be on, like, every platform.
Yep.
Because, like, most fast fashion brands would rather pay for stuff on TikTok or YouTube, or like, Instagram. For you to actually make a living from it, you would need to be posting on TikTok and Instagram, or, like, at least two. Yeah,
and even, like, a lot of content that I book in now with fast fashion brands is, like, you know, it is across, like, can we get a TikTok and an Instagram story haul and a YouTube video haul for this much? Like, it is,
like, bundled
deals.
But I mean, I know YouTubers who do maybe, like, 3 or 4 paid sponsors collabs a month who make 10 to 20 grand. And then I also know Instagram fashion girlies with similar followings, couple 100,000, who make the same amount a month, but they do, like, 50 plus collabs a month, because it's, like, £150 here, £500 here. Like, it's quantity over quality.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is really, really full on, and that's also for, like, the top creators.
Yeah.
In, like, the fashion space.
Yeah.
Like, you really do have to do a lot. Unless you're able to, like, break through, you don't really make that much money.
No. You do have to be... I think the money, really, is in beauty...
Lifestyle tech.
Lifestyle tech. Yeah.
I agree. Do you scout for people, or is everyone on your roster people who have come to you, or both? I've had a bit of both.
Yeah.
99% of the people that are on my roster I've scouted.
Yeah.
1 or 2 have reached out.
I think that for me, a lot of the time it's like word of mouth. So it's like I manage one person and then their friend is looking for a manager, so then I manage them as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what's happened. I think that it's a mix. I've had a couple of people get in touch with me. I if I'm honest, majority of people that get in touch with me, I don't really take on. I think in terms of who've reached out to me, I think I've taken on one person that's reached out to me, in all honesty.
But, like, it does mean, like, don't not reach out.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I mean, when I first was looking for management as a creator, I signed with the first person that I spoke to.
Yeah.
And I would sort of just, like, reach out to one place and then sit and wait for them to respond, because I'm thinking, I don't want to reach out to other people and then have, like, 4 or 5 people get back to me and want to sign me, and I'm like, that doesn't realistically that doesn't happen. Like, so many agencies get way more inquiries than you probably think.
Yeah.
And anyone that's willing to just, like, take you on straight away without actually getting to know you or your talent, I think is a red flag.
Yeah.
Like, my old agency was also, like, a YouTube network. So they took YouTube AdSense as well, and I think that's why they were so quick to sign me. But I had a friend who was signed there and loved it. She had a different manager to what I got, and she was who I was speaking to. And then as soon as I signed, she's like, right, so you're going with this manager then. And I had to speak to my manager over email. It was just a bit awkward, and, like, I'd always have to chase. I didn't really know when I was getting paid, or it just, like, was more hassle than it was worth.
Yeah.
But I think if you really are interested in management, reach out to a lot of places, see where friends of friends are, because the thing is, if you can get a friend to recommend you, or if, like, a friend's in an agency and they're like, yeah, like, apply for that. But also, like, I've had some girls come to me like, oh, I'm friends with this person and they're really good, would you look at their profiles and stuff? And I always do. I always make time to, like, have a chat with them and see that type of thing.
I think as well, like, from us working in the industry, like, we kind of know what agencies are good, what agencies are quite corrupt. Like, we've obviously kind of worked on brand side for some campaigns.
Yeah, there are some agencies out there where I'm like, well, there was an Love Islander a few years back.
Oh yeah.
And her agency, the way they worked, like, they just straight away sent me her media kits, which it literally looked like not even like a Canva template.
Right.
Like, so messy and unprofessional, like copy and pasted on a bright pink background.
Oh no.
And then the rates were like a quarter of what they should have been.
I remember this.
So low. And I was just thinking, like, oh my god, if I was this girl, like, does she know that this is how they're coming to brands? Because I was like, oh, this is an immediate no. Or, like, the brand would say, we want to work with this creator, so let's send it to them, and the agency would come back straight and be like, yeah, no, not for this creator, but here's, like, 7 other creators instead. But like, they wouldn't even pass on the offer.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, the brand specifically want to hear from her, and they're like, oh, but what about our other talents? Like, why?
Yeah, I get you. Or give a reason, like, no, she's already in a contract with this one,
or be like, no, this product isn't of interest or anything. It's like, okay, I've just sent you one email. You're sending me 20 different media kits over for different people. Like, I just want to know if she's interested.
Yeah, I get you.
Like, there are some, like, weird.
And if there's a reason why she's not interested, we can discuss someone else. But
yeah,
I do want to get back into doing influencer campaigns for.
Oh, it'd be so much, like.
I know.
It's quite fun.
It is, but oh my god, it's stressful. It depends how easy the company is to work with, and I think that a lot of people do struggle because there's a reason that they have a third party agency doing it for them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There's some more questions and, like, I think we want to dive deeper into this, so we're probably going to do that in the next episode. So make sure you're following us on socials and following us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to the pod, because the next episode is also going to be juicy. And a continuation from this.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll see you again soon. When I don't know when, but we'll see you.
A week after today.
It will be, but who knows what we will be,
Yeah.
what will have happened in our life. Maybe I'll have a boyfriend.
No, you won't. No.
Maybe. Not in a week, no.
I mean, you never know.
By the time this is put out...
You could be engaged.
Okay, babe. No, let's not. We need you to be engaged first.
Yeah, that's not going to happen for a while. Alright.
Anyway.
See you guys later.
See you later. Bye.